Welcome to Dreamy Detections. Thank you for choosing to spend your quiet time here, in this peaceful sanctuary where gentle stories unfold. The tale that awaits is designed to help you release the day, find a gentle sense of contentment, and drift into a wonderfully restorative sleep. If you find comfort in our time together, a simple like, a subscription to the channel, or a kind comment is always so deeply appreciated. Tonight, we will be visiting the Whispering Meadow Garden, a place tucked away from the noise of the world. Prepare to be enchanted by its winding paths, its soothing atmosphere, and the delightful daily gatherings of its charming garden gnomes. Allow this story to be your gentle respite, a journey into stillness and profound calm, where the only thing to discover is a deeper sense of peace. Chapter 1. The Gate to Whispering Meadow. Rosemary arrived at her small, ivy-covered cottage on a soft, overcast afternoon, immediately feeling a sense of profound calm settle over her. The air was cool and smelled of recent rain and blooming honeysuckle, a gentle perfume that seemed to wash away the memory of her long journey. The cottage itself was quaint, with a deep green door and window boxes overflowing with cheerful pansies. It felt like a place that had been waiting patiently for her, a quiet haven promising rest and gentle solitude. After bringing her bags inside, she stood at the window, simply watching a robin peck gently at the soft earth of the lawn. The cottage's garden ended at a low, weathered stone wall, and set within it was a small wooden gate. It was painted a soft periwinkle blue, the paint peeling just enough to be charming. A small, hand-carved sign above it read, "The Whispering Meadow Garden." She felt a gentle pull towards it, a quiet invitation. Leaving her unpacking for later, she wrapped a soft woolen shawl around her shoulders and stepped outside again, her feet making soft sounds on the damp grass as she walked to the gate. It opened with a gentle creak, a welcoming sound in the profound quiet. Stepping through, she entered a world of serene, ordered wildness. The garden was a tapestry of greens, from the deep emerald of the mossy ground to the pale silvery green of the willow leaves that danced in the slight breeze. Winding paths of dark earth, soft underfoot, beckoned her forward, leading her deeper into the peaceful sanctuary. The sounds were all soft and natural, the drowsy hum of a bee, the faint rustle of leaves, the distant gentle coo of a wood pigeon. It was a place designed for quiet wandering and peaceful contemplation. As she followed a path that curved around a large bed of fragrant lavender, she saw them, standing in a neat, straight line at the edge of the purple flowers, was a community of garden gnomes. There were perhaps 24 of them, all ceramic with rosy cheeks, long white beards, and pointed red hats. They were old, their paint faded and weathered by years of sun and rain, which only added to their immense charm. They stood in a simple formal row, as if forming a reception line just for her. Rosemary paused, a slow, warm smile spreading across her face. She stepped closer, her movements slow and careful, as if not to disturb their silent gathering. Each gnome was unique. One held a tiny fishing rod, another a miniature lantern, and a third clasped a small, sculpted book to its chest. Their painted eyes seemed to hold a cheerful, knowing twinkle. They were utterly delightful, a small pocket of whimsy in this already enchanting garden. She felt a wave of pure, uncomplicated joy. The sight was so unexpected, so full of simple, good-natured charm. It felt like a secret that the garden had shared with her on her very first visit. She stood with them for a long time, simply observing, her mind growing quieter with each passing moment. The world outside this garden, with its hurry and its noise, felt a million miles away. Here there was only the scent of lavender, the soft light of the overcast sky, and the silent, friendly company of the gnomes. As the light began to fade, turning the sky a soft shade of dusky rose, Rosemary knew it was time to return to the cottage. She gave a little nod to the line of gnomes, a silent thank you for their welcome, and made her way back to the periwinkle gate. The air was growing cooler, and the scent of damp earth and flowers was even richer now. The profound tranquility of the garden seemed to follow her, wrapping around her like her soft shawl. Back inside her cozy cottage, she made a cup of chamomile tea, its warmth spreading through her hands. She sat in a comfortable armchair by the window, watching the last of the light disappear from the sky, feeling a sense of peace she had not felt in a very long time. The image of the little gnome community remained in her mind, a delightful puzzle and a promise of the gentle wonders this place held. She felt a deep sense of gratitude and knew with a quiet certainty that she had come to the right place. Chapter 2. The Morning's Gentle Tableau. Rosemary awoke to the gentle sound of birdsong, a delicate and complex melody filtering through her open window. The morning light was soft and pearlescent, filling her small bedroom with a peaceful glow. For a few moments she simply lay there listening, feeling the comfortable weight of the soft quilt over her. There was no need to rush. Here time seemed to flow like a slow, peaceful river. She rose and dressed in her comfortable soft clothes, the gentle routine a comfort in itself. She went to the small kitchen and made a warm cup of herbal tea, its fragrant steam rising in a gentle spiral. The quiet clink of the spoon against the ceramic mug was the only sound. Holding the warm cup in both hands, she felt a familiar pull towards the periwinkle gate. The memory of the charming gnomes returned to her, and a gentle curiosity bloomed in her heart. She wrapped her shawl around her shoulders and stepped out into the cool, dew-kissed morning, heading for the Whispering Meadow Garden. The garden was even more beautiful in the morning light. Dewdrops glistened like tiny jewels on spiderwebs and on the petals of the flowers. The air was crisp and clean, full of the scent of green, growing things. She followed the soft earth path back to the lavender bed, her heart filled with a quiet, pleasant anticipation. As she rounded the corner, she stopped, her eyes widening in gentle surprise. The gnomes were no longer in a straight line. Today, they were gathered in a small, perfect circle on a patch of velvety green moss. In the center of the circle was a large, flat mushroom, serving as a tiny table. Upon it were meticulously placed acorn caps, turned upside down to look like miniature teacups. Some gnomes were seated on small, smooth pebbles, while others stood, seemingly engaged in quiet conversation. It was a perfect, tiny picnic scene, a tableau of silent, cheerful sociability. Rosemary felt a soft laugh bubble up inside her. It was utterly charming, a work of gentle, anonymous art. She sat on a nearby wooden bench, the old wood smooth beneath her touch, and simply gazed at the scene. She noticed new details the longer she looked. One gnome appeared to be pouring tea for another. A different gnome, leaning against the mushroom stem, held a single perfect daisy, as if it were a parasol. The entire scene was imbued with a sense of peaceful, whimsical life. This delightful discovery established a new, cherished routine for Rosemary. Each morning after waking, she would take her warm drink and make her way into the garden. It became a pilgrimage of peaceful discovery, a quiet ritual that grounded her day in wonder and serenity. Her first and most pleasant task was to walk to the gathering spot to see what new, gentle story the gnomes were telling. It was a small, daily gift that she looked forward to with all her heart. One morning they were arranged as if they were fishing by the small, still pond, with lines made of spider silk and tiny twigs for rods. Another day they were gathered in a semicircle, all looking up at a tall foxglove as if it were a grand clock tower. Each tableau was thoughtful, gentle, and created with a clear love for detail. Rosemary would spend a part of her morning just sitting with them, sometimes sketching the new arrangements in a small notebook, capturing the quiet joy of the moment. The gnomes became her silent friends, their changing positions a gentle daily communication that spoke of creativity and kindness. The mystery of who was creating these scenes was a pleasant, low-humming question in the back of her mind. It was a puzzle without any urgency, a gentle riddle that only added to the garden's charm. It was a wonder to be savored, not solved. The simple act of observing, of being present with this quiet magic, was filling her well of creativity and bringing a profound sense of peace to her soul. Chapter 3. A Shared and Quiet Wonder. A few weeks into her stay, a soft, persistent drizzle kept Rosemary inside for most of the morning. The gentle patter of rain on the roof was a soothing rhythm, and she sat by the window working on a new weaving project, the soft wool running through her fingers. When the rain softened to a fine mist in the afternoon, she felt the need for a change of scenery and a warm treat. She put on her boots and a waterproof coat and took a slow, pleasant walk into the small village center. The village consisted of a single lane with a handful of charming shops. Her destination was the Warm Crust, the local bakery, whose sweet, yeasty scent preceded it, wafting down the lane to greet her. A small bell above the door chimed with a soft, melodic tone as she entered. The air inside was warm and fragrant, with the smell of cinnamon, sugar, and baking bread. It was a deeply comforting and welcoming atmosphere. As she stood deciding between a Chelsea bun and a slice of seed cake, she overheard the two women ahead of her in the queue. They were speaking in low, warm tones, their conversation full of gentle amusement. "Did you see them this morning?" one said, her eyes twinkling. "The little orchestra? I thought the one with the leaf for a cello was particularly clever." The other woman nodded, smiling. "It was lovely. My favorite was the little conductor with the twig for a baton. It brings such a smile to my face on my morning walk." Rosemary's heart gave a little leap of joy. They were talking about the gnomes. The secret wonder was not just hers, it was a treasure shared by the community. A warm feeling of connection spread through her. She was part of this quiet, gentle circle of observers who appreciated the garden's daily magic. The knowledge was comforting, like sipping a warm cup of tea on a chilly day. Later that week, while she was sitting on her favorite bench in the garden, sketching the gnomes who were arranged as if they were stargazing, a man with kind eyes and earth-stained hands approached. He moved with a slow, deliberate grace that was familiar. It was Mr. Alastair Bloom, the garden's quiet caretaker, whom she had seen from a distance tending the rose bushes. He stopped a respectful distance away and smiled a gentle, shy smile. "They are quite the little characters, are they not?" he said, his voice as soft as the rustling leaves. "They are perfectly wonderful," Rosemary replied, her own voice soft. "Every morning is a new, delightful surprise." Mr. Bloom nodded, his gaze full of a deep, quiet affection as he looked at the gnomes. "They seem to enjoy the garden as much as we do," he remarked. They spoke for a little while, not about who might be moving the gnomes, but about the garden itself. He told her which rose was the most fragrant and pointed out the hiding place of a shy wren's nest. Their conversation was easy and unhurried, a shared appreciation for the peaceful beauty surrounding them. Rosemary came away from the encounter feeling even more connected to this place. She understood now that the gnomes were a central part of the village's heart. They were a silent story being told, not just for one person, but for everyone. They were a thread of gentle whimsy woven into the fabric of the community, connecting people in a shared and quiet wonder. The gentle puzzle of their origin felt different now. It was less of a question for her to ponder alone and more of a warm, communal secret. The beauty of it was not in finding an answer, but in being part of the audience. The delight was in the sharing, in knowing that other people, like the women in the bakery and the kind Mr. Bloom, were also starting their day with a smile, thanks to the silent, charming antics of the gnomes in the Whispering Meadow Garden. Chapter 4. The Gardener's Silent Song. One morning, Rosemary woke much earlier than usual. The sky outside her window was not yet light, but was a deep velvety indigo, just beginning to soften at the eastern horizon. A profound stillness lay over the world, a sacred quiet that exists only in the moments just before dawn. Something compelled her to get up, a gentle and silent pull. She slipped out of bed, wrapped herself in her warmest blanket, and went to sit in the armchair by the window that looked out onto the garden. The garden was a world of soft shapes and deep shadows. The air was cool and held the rich scent of night-blooming flowers and damp earth. As her eyes adjusted to the dim light, she saw a small, soft glow moving slowly and gracefully through the garden. It was a lantern, its flame enclosed in glass, casting a warm, gentle circle of light. It moved with a familiar, unhurried pace, and Rosemary knew at once who was holding it. It was Mr. Bloom. She watched, her heart filled with a quiet, reverent wonder. He made his way to the clearing where the gnomes were gathered. In the soft lantern light, she could see him kneeling on the damp moss. He moved with the tenderness and precision of an artist. He would pick up one gnome, consider it for a moment, and then place it carefully in a new position. He would adjust a hat, tilt a head, or place a tiny, carefully chosen prop, a smooth stone or a curled leaf, into a gnome's hand. He was not just arranging them, he was composing. His movements were a silent song, a quiet act of creation performed in the peaceful solitude of the pre-dawn garden. He was the gentle artist, the creator of the daily tableaus. He was sharing his quiet, creative spirit with the entire village, asking for nothing in return. He was simply putting a little bit of gentle, whimsical beauty into the world for others to find. The sight was profoundly moving. Rosemary sat perfectly still at her window, feeling like a privileged audience to a sacred private performance. There was no grand revelation, no startling discovery. There was only a deep, quiet understanding that settled in her heart like a warm stone. The puzzle was resolved not with a bang, but with a gentle, peaceful sigh of comprehension. It was an act of quiet, creative kindness, performed day after day by the garden's most devoted friend. As the first pale light of dawn began to spill over the horizon, Mr. Bloom finished his work. He stood back for a moment, observing his new creation with a look of simple satisfaction, then extinguished his lantern and walked away, his form melting back into the growing light of the garden. Rosemary waited until he was gone, then continued to sit by the window, a feeling of immense warmth and contentment spreading through her. Later that morning, with the sun now fully risen, she took her usual walk into the garden. The new tableau was a tiny orchestra, with a conductor standing on a piece of bark, and musicians playing instruments made of twigs and flower blossoms. It was perhaps the most charming one yet. Knowing its origin made it even more beautiful. It was not just a whimsical scene. It was a gift. It was a piece of Mr. Bloom's gentle heart, offered freely to the world. Rosemary felt a profound sense of belonging, a deep connection to this garden, and the quiet kindness that bloomed within it, and she carried that lasting restorative peace with her.